Hi, we're talking to Jim Reavis, Executive Director of the Cloud Security Alliance. Fill us in on what these 7 deadly sins are. Can you give us a little background on what that is?
Absolutely. So when we defined our guidance, which is a fairly broad set of best practices for securing the cloud, we knew we needed to give the consumers of cloud computing as well as the providers a little more context on what are the threats out there so they can take a risk management approach, understand what the key risks are, and be able to make those business decisions a little more wisely with a little greater context. And so we had some really smart people who represented cloud providers, large enterprises, independent research consultants, threat researchers, and those sorts of people in a consensus fashion to discuss this and to come up with a list of what they felt were the most compelling. I like to say it was a fortuitous marketing event that it occurred to be 7, because actually it could have been any number, but that's what they came up with, and I think they're very relevant. So, for example, nefarious use of cloud computing. Bad guys occupying cloud space shared with us and using the really unlimited resources to be able to attack the users within the cloud or even outside of the cloud. That's a key issue. That's something that's new to cloud computing. It's something we need to be concerned about. It's also it's going to be a challenge, but something we're going to need to mitigate, because it is not as though you can blacklist that area which you're also doing business with. So it's an example. There's several others. I encourage people to go to /top threats for more information, but insecure APIs is another really good example. As we move to more application security on top of the cloud, it is something that we see a lot of risks for amplification of some of the threats we've already known, and insecure communications between applications that get sort of mashed up and deployed very rapidly around the cloud. So,
All right. What about this Trusted Cloud initiative? Can you give us just a little bit on that?
Sure, that's going to be an initiative this year where we're going to actually try to operationalize a lot of the stuff we're talking about and develop some secure and interoperable reference models for doing identity management in the cloud, so that, for example, the many very innovative SaaS providers who are not at this point able to access corporate directories in a federated way to allow them to access their applications. So we can give them a model that for both that side and for the enterprises they can agree on. We can use SAML, we can use OAuth, we can do this in a scalable way. So you essentially configure your application once, you do the right things from a governance perspective in managing your business, and if we can do that once, if we can certify that, then we have a scalable way to be able to allow that to connect to a lot of different enterprises and vice versa. So the goal is, let's develop the ecosystem documentation in Q2. Let's have draft 1 of the certification criteria out for public comment in Q3, and in Q4 let's go roll with it, and let's probably start with self-certification types of tools. And by the end of this year, hopefully we'll have several organizations on board that are showing that their applications are securely interoperating, being leveraged by enterprises through the Trusted Cloud Initiative.
All right, Jim. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks.